So good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So the first part of my talk today is going to be the burning bowl ceremony. The late American Protestant minister, which I know you've all heard of, Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, once wrote, "There is a spiritual giant within you, which is always struggling to burst its way out of the prison you have made for it." That spiritual giant is a power, a potentiality of which perhaps you may not even be aware. This power can, however, remake you in every way. Call it God, or the spirit of life, or being itself. There is an almighty power and presence that is capable of making all things new. And note that I said all things. That power and presence can indeed recreate each one of us in both mind and body and fill us with a new life. It can even transform our whole world, which is a good thing. How powerful is that? Life is, or at least ought to be, a continual process of letting go and letting be. There's a certain rhythm to life and nature, and that rhythm is one of letting go and letting be. Yes, letting go so that the new may manifest. We've all heard how it's very therapeutic to clean out your closet when you're making way for new things, right? The old must go. As we begin the new year, I ask you this. How willing are you and I to let go of all that is holding us back? I'm thinking especially of bad habits, addictions, negative thoughts, emotions, unhealthy relationships. You see, most of us resist change largely because we fear it, but also because change, real, meaningful change in our lives, can seem very challenging, or as Rich said last week in his reading, the most dangerous four-letter word in the human vocabulary, hard. Hard. It can be hard. We make so many excuses for giving up what is bad for us. Well, I'll just have one more piece of chocolate cake. It can't be that bad, right? We even say, I can't change. That's just the way I am. Rubbish. That is nonsense. Now is the time for our transformative ritual that is known as the burning bowl ceremony. It's a ritual we've done here in a few different ways. We've done the dissolving into the water, and we've done the flash paper, which is what you have here today. The performance of this ritual helps us to let go of old hurts, grudges, resentments, regrets, and suffering. Indeed, to relinquish anything that is holding us back and which we wish to relinquish, to let go. In most religions, fire, or the flame, is a symbol of purification and transformation and power. In the burning bowl ceremony, you will write down on your small piece of paper whatever it is, and it may be more than one thing, that you wish to be free of. The act of writing it down, what you want gone from your life, is a very important part of letting it go, and it's a very important part of the process. Indeed, there is a great power in so doing. Once you have done that, I'd like you to gently fold your paper in half. Now, before you place it into the flame, and I'll demonstrate in a minute, I want you to spend a moment or two in quiet prayer or meditation by way of personal commitment and surrender. If there's anything else holding you back, become aware of what it is and let that go as well. When you are ready, come up to the bowl and set alight your piece of paper, and it's going to disappear in just a flash. I will show you. And as you do so, in a sincere and meaningful way, the ritual will help you to effect a real deep change in your life. And if you and I change, then others, after seeing the change in us, may decide to change as well. Somebody's got to go first, right? This is the only way to change the consciousness of our world. St. Paul wrote, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." That is my all-time favorite Bible verse. That is what the burning bowl ceremony is all about, transformation and renewal. It all begins in the mind. May the new year be a blessed and joyful one for you and your loved ones, and may it be a time of real, meaningful spiritual growth as well. Okay, so just fold it in half like this, and I will demonstrate how this, just put it into the flame, and it's gone. Well, almost. Almost?
That's not bad look, is it?
Okay.
Just fold it in half.
It didn't want to go.
I think it has to be open.
Oh, maybe try open then.
All right.
Open.
I think it's
Open. Open.
Oh, shit. Now that is.
Open.
Open. Okay.
And quick.
I like the symbol. I like the symbolism.
That's what flash paper is, Chris.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Wait a minute.
It's flash paper.
You can do it again, Chris.
Nope, that's fine. Mine's gone. It's gone.
Whoa.
There may have been a little resistance there, right?
I've seen the ones that looks like you light and they float up in this air.
Yeah.
The fairy magazines.
Ah. Ah, that's why there's a bowl. That's where there's a bowl. It will go. It is going.
Really fast. Huh?
Oh, we're gonna lose our flame. Maybe not.
Oh boy, that was a good.
Okay, we've lost our flame. We need the
Oh.
lighter.
Good. You
Wait, we need the lighter.
Yeah,
need
we
the-
got it. I mean, I don't have it. Who has it?
I'll go get it. It's in the back.
Oh, I see the
Bunch of
paper.
that to do his family.
Yeah.
toss it across
You
the.
get it from Amazon?
She did, yeah. You see the magic shots.
Yeah, maybe the people on there are kind of suffocating. Okay, here we go.
Okay. We'll just keep the. Here, go ahead, and we'll just keep this burning here.
All right, just put it on top.
Just put it on top.
Yeah, the first one.
Oh,
It's gone. Okay. Next, anybody?
just drop it in there.
Just drop it on the flame.
That's quick.
Wow.
I know.
Truly flash.
Oh. Oh, Suzanne, we're gonna need yours.
It's okay.
We're gonna need yours, Suzanne.
I got it. Unless somebody's got matches, mine's in the
We have
car.
a trash. Get some rid of some of the liquid.
Shake it like that. Turn it upside down.
That's what I do.
Oh,
That's okay. I got it. You keep it going, I'll go get mine.
It's got to, there you
There you
go.
go.
Okay,
See if
here
you
we
can
go.
light it now.
okay, go
There you
ahead.
go.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll just
Okay.
keep that going. There we go. There we go, okay.
Gotta get rid of this.
It's gotta go. And it's gone, okay. There's a little flame going. Ah.
Do you want me to
There we
use
go. There we go.
Is that fun? She likes to play with fire.
Suzanne has a new one.
That's okay.
Whole new early going.
So fun to get rid of stuff.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Oh, I feel better already. It's childproof, Chris.
Hold that one. It's childproof.
Also fireproof.
I can't light it. I don't know.
It's okay. No, that's.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
All right.
Oh, that's the way to do it. That way it doesn't
Yeah.
suffocate.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't suffocate the candle.
All
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Stand back. Mother does hers.
It's gone. It's gone. It's
We're
gone.
gonna-
All right. Is that everybody? Okay.
She's gonna spontaneously combust.
There we go, so you put it there, you'll light it.
Just like that.
You two are.
And it's gone.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, that concludes our. Do you feel that sense of relief and release?
Feels
Yes.
wonderful.
It's good. All right. So now let's get to the
We
business.
also have some stones.
Oh, yes, yes. If you weren't here last week and you would like to have a Jerusalem stone to write your word, one of the rituals that we do is we choose a word each year to guide us and to remind us what it is that we are focusing on. Here, Joy is showing,
You write on it what you
On my
want
card, I
to
didn't
focus
get a
on
card.
or body for the year.
right, right. And one way to do that, and I learned this yesterday actually, but I had already done it in the class, is to think about something maybe you're not pleased with that's going on in the world right now, and think of what the opposite of that is. And that, condense it down to a word. I have a friend who was writing a little thing on Facebook. She was sharing something about shaming. She says, that my goal is to avoid shaming and I said, what's the opposite, for a word for that? And that would be, and she said, embracing. I said, then that's your word, is embracing. And so if there's something that is holding you back or, keeping you in a place where you don't want to be, what's the opposite of that? And that is your guiding word. So for me, my guiding word is kind. And I have two. My other one is present. I want to stay in the present moment. And I want to always, regardless of what I see in the world, I want to be kind. And I want to see kindness and loving kindness. So encompasses a lot of things. So you're welcome to those stones. All right, so I'm going to get to talking about doing the work. So tipping point or turning point? That's the question we've been asking ourselves this month, and it's a question that's inspired by Pam Grout's follow-up to her best-selling book, E Squared, which is called E Cubed, in which she writes, she says, taking the wrecking ball to mental constructs that have imprisoned us for too long, taking the focus off the limited self we see in the mirror and putting it on the glorious field of potentiality that allows us to connect to all that is. It is about letting go, giving up old mental constructs and surrendering to the all-loving, all-powerful energy force that is bigger, bolder, brighter than anything you've ever seen. This sacred buzz is life itself. Life, which no matter how many walls we erect, no matter how seriously we screw up, is always there waiting with arms open wide. And of course, the other book on which this month is grounded and founded on is our beautiful Science of Mind textbook, which is by Dr. Ernest Holmes, in which he writes, if we could take time, once a day at least, to let go of all that is not true, doubt, distrust, worry, condemnation, and fear, and lay hold of life in its expressions of beauty, truth, and wholeness, we would be healed. Do you see a common thread with Pam Grout's and Ernest Holmes' statements? Kind of connect. It's so wonderful to see so many of the authors that are current today at just reiterating what Holmes has talked about since 1926. It's just amazing. These two concepts form our work together this month, during which we are creating turning points in our lives through our thinking that then lead to different tipping points, not only for ourselves, but for the world at large. For clarity, a tipping point is the moment at which there's enough critical mass for a major change to occur. And a turning point is the moment of decision, the moment we individually or collectively decide to make a shift, to head in a different direction, to view things another way, and that decision results in a radically different outcome. And turning points result in different tipping points. Perhaps being here this morning is a turning point. If so, that's awesome. It certainly was for me 40 years ago when I was thinking about this. 40 years ago when I first walked into a religious science church, I was 17 years old. Yes, now you know how old I am. That was a major turning point in my life, although I didn't realize it at that time. A lot of times perspective is hindsight. It was something that turned my life upside down around in the most magnificent and glorious ways, in ways that I could never have predicted, because I had no idea where I was headed at that point. But before we get into doing the work today, I want to briefly review our 5 old views versus the turning point views that we discussed last week. Remember, I said that they not only laid the groundwork for this month, but actually for our entire year. So they're really worth a little review, so I'll do it briefly. I'm going to go with the old world views, or the old views first, and then I'll talk about the new ones. So old view number 1. And these are not our current views, but this is the old view number 1. God is a judgmental man outside of me, determining whether or not I am worthy. This is a God to be feared, and I have to be very, very good to gain favor with this God. I have to beg, plead, bargain with this God. God's punishment are meted out, and they're here and also in the afterlife. Turning point view number 1. So this is the opposite here. This is what we believe. God is an energy of love and creation that flows through all, sustains all, surrounds all, in fact, is all, which, of course, includes each of you. Old view number 2. The world is a scary place. Our job is to put on our armor, work like heck, and stay one step ahead of everything that is out to get us. Turning point view number 2. The universe actually has our backs and is constantly conspiring, I love the word conspiring, for our good by sending us blessings and gifts and guidance. Old view number 3. Life happens to me. I'm an innocent bystander, a pitiful victim of circumstances, of weather, of disease, of my own dysfunction. Turning point view number 3. Life emanates from me. I create my world with my thoughts, beliefs, and energetic frequencies. Old view number 4, no pain, no gain. A phrase used by Benjamin Franklin. Who knew that he said that? It was also made popular by Jane Fonda in her workout days. Turning point view number 4, there is no reason to struggle. Once we let go, surrender to the universal flow of life, life with a capital L, will take over and handle the details. Old view number 5, I am not worthy of a good life. I am inherently flawed, inherently bad. Turning point view number 5, my worthiness is not at stake. It never has been at stake. It never has and it never will be. There is nothing required of me to be worthy. I am worthy simply because of who I am. We are God's sparks. We are God's sparks. And here is our turning point view recap. So I'm going to go through this real quick. Turning point view number 1, God is an energy of love and creation that flows through all, surrounds all, is all, and that includes me. Turning point number 2, the universe actually has my back and is constantly conspiring for my good. Number 3, I create my world with my thoughts, beliefs, and energetic frequencies. Number 4, once I surrender to the universal flow of life with a capital L, it takes over and handles the details. Number 5, I am inherently worthy simply because of who I am. So with those turning point views as our foundation, today we are going to experiment with the statement, God can only work for us by working through us. Ernest Holmes says in The Science of Mind, I would rather see a student of this science prove its principle than to have him repeat all of the words of wisdom that have ever been uttered. And we don't ask you to believe one thing that you cannot prove. And that's what we're really all about, is giving you the tools so you can prove these principles in your lives. Pam Grout in E Cubed write, I believe that spirituality and the abstruse concepts such as thought creates matter should be proven, not taken on faith. For years, these principles have made for simulating dinner conversation, interesting sermon fodder. But because we've only been theorizing about them, not putting them into practice, our world has not been rocked in the radical way it needs to be. The fact that your thoughts are energy waves by being broadcast out into this giant field of infinite potentiality is something you should be aware of and deploying on a moment-by-moment basis. So, are you ready to rock your world and the world around you? Yes? Yes? We're ready? Okay, good, because we're going to do a couple of experiments this next week. So before we talk about the experiments, I want to suggest that there is nothing like the compadres on the path of enlightenment to encourage, to celebrate, and challenge your personal perceptions. In fact, neuroscientists have discovered that humans reverberate to the actions and emotions of the people around them. And Joy will tell you that that is certainly the truth. She's our energy worker here. We're all energy workers, but I have to tell you, she's got a special insight, though, a true gift. Wouldn't it be great to reverberate with people who are spiritually aligned with you and who can support you, and you can support them on your journey of unfoldment? Of experimenting not with just what we're doing this month, but manifesting your dreams and your hopes and your desires this year. So we were actually, as a center, going to do a couple of Pam Grout's experiments, just like the ones we did in our book study, and it's really going to be a lot of fun. I don't know how many of you were in the class and did the experiments. Okay, so most of you have not. So this is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be an expanded book study right here. So what I want you to do is, if you'd pass out, Suzanne, I'm going to give you experiment 1, and I'll give you can do both the sheets just to save time. So experiment 1. Did you know that rhinos have very bad eyesight? Even at 15 feet away, they can't tell a human from a tree. So even though being charged by a rhino is high on the list of things to fear in Africa, it's actually the least of your worries. Rhinos, when startled, do begin running as fast as they can, and there's no disputing that 4 tons of snorting rhino barreling your way, most of it a very large and very sharp horn, can appear rather troubling. But because rhinos are nearsighted, they're not really charging you. They're simply running as fast as they possibly can in whatever direction they were pointed in at the time that they got spooked. All you really need to do to be safe is to dive out of the way. That rhino will continue in the same trajectory until he finally wears himself out, or until he realizes he's no longer in danger. So what does this have to do with our first experiment? Well, our thoughts are like spooked, nearsighted rhinos. Once they get some momentum going, it's pretty hard to change their trajectory, which is why our first experiment involves starting a new practice first thing in the morning. As you rise out of bed, proclaim these words: "Something amazingly awesome happens to me today." And Suzanne, if you want to pass out, oh no, you can get those later. But I have those for you. If you'd like to take them and put them on your bedside, they are little tent cards right there to remind you to say that. So let's say that together. Something amazingly awesome happens to me today. So you're going to remember to do this because this is going to be sitting right by your bedside. You'll be able to see it every morning when you wake up. Can we make it any easier? Right? But you're the one who has to do it. You're the one that has to do it. You're the one who has to do the work, because God can only work for you by working through you. This simple practice will take 5 seconds or so to do, but will prove to you by changing the momentum of the first few minutes of your day, you can rewrite the entire script of your life right there. Pam Grout writes, by cutting off the feeding tube to the blah blah soundtrack of negativity, you can begin to see real shifts in your day-to-day reality. Or said another way, by cutting off the feeding tube to the blah blah soundtrack of negativity, you can create a turning point that creates a new tipping point in your thinking, and you will see real shifts in your day-to-day reality. Talk about creating new neural pathways, new grooves in the brain by thinking new thoughts. New thought. Good title, right? Eventually your thoughts will automatically tip over into the new grooves. It's suggested in eCubed that you do this for 3 days, but I say, why just 3 days? I think it could be a lifetime practice. Something amazingly awesome happens to me today. Yes, I think it could be a lifetime practice. And part 2 of experiment 1, during these same 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then I say keep it going, make a commitment to be grateful. In fact, be in amazed gratitude for everything that happens. Now, that key word there is everything. You get a raise, say, thank you, that's amazing. Thank you, universe. You get fired. That's amazing. Thank you, universe. You get stopped by the police. That's amazing. Thank you, universe. You lose 5 pounds. That's amazing. Thank you, universe. You gain 10 pounds. That's amazing. Thank you, universe. Okay, you get the picture? Thankful for everything. These 2 activities will change the trajectory of your runaway rhino thinking first thing in the morning, and will set you up for our second experiment to prove this science, to prove that you are a creative being, which is turning point number 3. So this is on to experiment number 2. The second experiment will start on Thursday. So you do have homework this week. It's a 3-day experiment. And you know what? With all the rain, you're going to have a lot of time to do these experiments. Astrophysicist Bernard, I don't know how to say his last name, Heish, in his book, The God Theory, wrote, ultimately it is consciousness that is the origin of matter, energy, and laws of nature. The purpose of our universe is for God to experience his potential. We're the way that God experiences life. So in honor of giving God a real bang-up experience, filled with celebration and joy and magnificent fun, this experience is intended to prove that your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are reproduced in the events around you. Events that we used to call coincidence or synchronicity. For 3 days, starting on Thursday, you're going to actively look for the following 8 things. Just keep your eyes open and make the intention to draw them into your conscious awareness. The idea is that once you've placed your order from the universe, they'll show up as ordered. And just like you've never doubt that Amazon will deliver to your doorstep whatever your most recent purchase is, who does that? I love that, man. That's pretty much the way it is around Christmas time. They keep delivering, right? Simply trust that the following 8 things are rushing your way. Okay, so these 8 things: a belly laugh, a toy from your childhood, your favorite high school song, the number 222, a beach ball. In January, a beach ball. I'm not going to doubt that. A senior citizen in a fashionable hat, a smile from a baby, a billboard with a message just for you, and you'll know it. So keep track of both experiments on the lab sheets that were passed out and bring them back with you next Sunday. Bring them back. This is our work. This is the work that we must do, and nobody can do this work for us. We have to do it. Early in the semester, a female student stops by during her professor's office hours. He invites her in. She glances up and down the hall, steps in, closes the door, and says, "I would do anything to receive an A in this class." She steps closer to his desk and flips back her hair and licks her lips and gazes meaningfully into his eyes, and she says, "I mean, anything." He returns the gaze and says, "Anything?" "Anything," she replies. The professor's voice drops to a whisper, and he leans and he says, "Would you study?" If you want to create turning points in your life, and so that your life tips over into a life filled with God's love and peace and harmony and plenty, are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to put in the time? Yes? Yes? All right. All right. So you have your assignments. You know what you need to do. Let's do this. Let's bring it back. Let's share. And let's celebrate all of the success that each and every